Welcome to the Top M&A Entrepreneurs. Today, my guest is Michael Byars, who I've been trying to get on the show for over a year. That's because Michael has acquired over 50 companies in 22 years. He's rolled some in, he's sold some, and he's got 22 companies under management. Michael Byars, welcome to the show.
I'm just honored to be here, John. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but I appreciate the invitation to join you.
Patience comes to those who wait, right? So welcome, Michael. And so you started 22 years ago when you were 21. So you're only 43 years old or something. That's pretty young.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how did this start? Tell me about like the very first company. What did that look like? And why did you decide to buy a company versus going what every other 22-year-old does is go to work for somebody?
Right. So when I was younger, I grew up in a small little town. I went off to college, but while I was in college, I ended up starting a tech company. It was doing okay when I got out of college. I didn't stay at college that long. I stayed there maybe a year and a half, and I quit college to concentrate on that tech company. I got out of the tech company. I was looking to do something else. I still had the company, but I kind of got bored doing the stuff I was doing. And I was looking at startups are tough, man. They're extremely tough. I started
I
the
wouldn't
tech
recommend
company,
it
and
on
I just
anybody. Yeah.
I mean it was brutal. And for me, after doing the tech startup, I was like, man, there's got to be a better way. So I went looking for something that was already cash flowing with, staff in place because, as a 19-year-old kid, you can imagine how hard it was to hire anybody. Nobody believed in you. Staff was already in place. Systems, operations, processes were already in place. I came in, I bought that company, and I was able to, man, we went from doing about $200,000 a year gross, about 50 grand a year net, to in 2 years we were doing over $1 million a year gross, and right at 400,000 a year net. And in about another year and a half, we were over 3 million gross and over $1 million net. And I had that company for about 10 years before I sold it. But for me, it was all about compressing that time. I went and paid someone else for what they had already done just to save myself that time. Growing the tech company, like I said, it was a startup, man, and it was slow going to start with. It took me, really probably a year and a half, right at 2 years maybe, before I made 100,000 a year. And that's a lot of grinding, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of 16, 18-hour days, a lot of 8-day work weeks. You know what I mean? So, for me to be able to go buy something else that was already existing, that had all the stuff that I had to build to get to where I was at, and start out, day one, I was making over 200 grand a year, which is what I'd worked 2 years to get to try to make half of that. I thought I'd hit a home run, and I wasn't going back. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you love that. What kind of company was it that you bought?
It was a restaurant, but it also had, it also had a lot of different, I guess you could say, caveats to it. There was a restaurant, and the guy that I bought it from, he not stayed on as an employee, but kind of just hung around, and he would help me, and he did a lot of other things, taught me a ton of stuff, man. I mean, without him, I don't know that I'd be where I'm at today in business world.
Well,
So
restaurants characteristically have high failure rates, really high failure rates, like in the 90%.
they do. They do. He had it for 30 years before I bought it. So it was.
So it was a good location, good food, good prices.
Yep.
Yeah, not a restaurant turnaround. Do you?
No, not a turnaround, and not something that's in that restaurant business. Normally, in a location, you're there for 6 to 8, maybe 10 years, and then you either got to close it or sell it, because that restaurant business, it's everyone wants to go eat at the new place, right? After you get to be the old place, things tend to slow down. But
and the population moves too, right?
correct. Yeah, for sure. if it's a place the young kids like to hang out, the young kids don't stay young for long. If it's a place the old folks like to hang out, they don't stay old for long either.
Yeah.
So, it's just, with the restaurant business, you're right. It's normally a churn, but this one was steady. It had a good customer base, wide variety of customers, age group, demographic. So for me, it was a safe bet at that time. I would never do another restaurant again because, it was hard work, just like the tech company was to get started, but it was hard work all the time. It's a 16-hour-a-day job, 6-7 days a week. It's just brutal. You can do a lot of other things and make the same or more money with, a tenth of the time invested.
Yeah. But at that time, I mean, look at you, you're 23, 24, 25. You're not doing what 23, 24, 25 other 20 are doing. They're out there probably still just graduated college and still looking for the first job or doing a lot of partying or whatever. You're running your own business, throwing off a couple $100,000 in net. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
And why would you say you would never do a restaurant again? Is it just because of all those things, like the transition of customers, the hours put in? But I mean, some people like Fertitta, he has a billion-dollar empire with restaurants.
Right.
Yeah,
he does. But he's, for me, the little one-off location. It's tough if you're going to run it at the scale that he's running it at. You've got a lot more infrastructure below you and a lot more staff to help you out. I didn't have that, and I didn't really want to grow it that much because that was
could have been grown. I mean, it's
brutal,
probably
man.
just like, it's not really a growing thing unless you buy another restaurant.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. How did you buy that? I mean, did you know the owner? Was it an on-market, off-market sale? How did you finance it?
I knew the owner, and just like, we all talk about, at the end of the day, he was aging up. He was getting older, and man, he was just burnt out. You work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week for 30 years, you're burnt out. You're done. He was looking for someone to come in and take it over and someone to buy him out. And, that's what I did. It was kind of, for lack of better terms, changing of the guard, if you want to call it. Right.
Did you get seller financing or a loan, or what was it?
Nope. All seller financing, 100% deal.
All seller financing?
Yep.
And it allowed him to step back.
Correct.
And then you be in charge of all the cash flow and
correct
employees, hiring, firing. I got to tell you, I have a buddy that was in restaurants. He was general manager of a couple of restaurants. He just hated it. He's like, kids would come in, little note on the corner, or they'd give it to a friend at the note and go, "Hey man, I got a concert tonight, can't make it."
Right.
And not show up.
That was it. And there's nothing you can do about it really, because I mean, it's tough to find people to work.
Yeah. So about the 10-year mark, you decide, I'm getting out of this business, but it didn't, diminish your goals of keep going and grow something bigger. What did you decide to focus on? And did you spend some energy and goes, okay, I'm not getting in the restaurant again. What am I going to get into?
Well, John, I wasn't that smart at that time. So I sold that restaurant and bought another restaurant.
Oh, you crazy.
I am crazy, but the one I bought was failing. They were losing about $4,000 a week. And I bought it and I sold it within 13 months. And within that 13 months, I had turned it around from losing $4,000 a week to we made a little over $1 million in that 13 months.
Yeah. And then I
sold it off. And, just by taking those same systems, operation, and processes that I'd had from the first restaurant, dumped it in the second one. But when I sold it off, I vowed to never do a restaurant again. So
now you vowed to it never. Yeah.
I got a little smarter. I was some dumb, but I wasn't plumb dumb.
Yeah.
So, but at the when I sold that off, I started getting into real estate. I was looking for some place to kind of put some money, looking for what I could do that I enjoyed, And I started buying single family homes.
Yeah.
Then I started doing fix and flips. So I was doing anywhere between 125 and 175 fix and flips a year. But every fourth one that I did, I was putting it in the rental portfolio. I was making enough revenue on the first three where the fourth one was paid for.
Yeah.
And, I did that for probably 8 or 9 years. But as I was doing that, I seen the opportunity in those type of businesses to go buy. I went and bought a property management company. I went and bought a plumbing company. I went and bought an HVAC company. I went and bought a forestry mulching company. I went and bought a general contracting company. I went and bought a rehab company. I mean, I'm super vertically integrated in that real estate space still. I still
Because they
got
all
about 100.
support each other, right? And somehow,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yep. And I can always service my properties or my customers or my renters before I have to go, take on outside public jobs. Right.
Right.
So I'm always giving my tenants or my renters much better service than they get anywhere else because they're waiting on the next guy you call if they have a service problem. I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
let me ask you about those HVAC companies and plumbing companies. How did you buy that? Was it out of cash flow from the business to get a loan? How did you
so I
finance
don't got
those?
any loans on anything I got, businesses
No
or,
loans at all.
yeah, or I've got 185 single family homes that I rent out and 10 commercial buildings. All those are paid for too, just from taking the cash flow on the past stuff and rolling it right over,
Yeah.
So everything like the plumbing company, the heating and air company, it's all, some of it was consulting for equity. Some of it was, seller finance, a small portion of it. Some of it I wrote a check for.
Yeah. What size of HVAC companies were you looking for? Were you looking for somebody that's, kind of smaller or bigger guys in the market, or
I was looking for something
just
with, a couple $1,000,000 with, I think we had 5 crews when I bought it.
5 crews, meaning 5 guys with separate trucks?
Normally we run 2-man crews, but yeah,
2-man
5
crews. Okay.
separate trucks. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you you find these HVAC companies, were they already doing business with the properties that you owned, calling them up, or how
Yeah.
was that found?
So
Yeah.
the companies like that I like to buy are if I'm currently doing business with them, I'm going to buy the most dependable ones because I know they've got the best company structure, infrastructure internally. Those guys, I knew that, when I called everybody else I called, they might be 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out from me. When I called this group here, they would try to get to me within 3 or 4 days and they'd kind of work me in. But I knew that, what they all were how they worked, I knew their work ethic. I knew that, they weren't going to just halfway do a job. No
Yeah.
matter which crew I got to come out, they always did the job right. They always were punctual. I didn't have to call my tenant and say, hey, Bob of Bob's Plumbing is going to be there at 10 a.m. and it's 2 p.m. and my tenant's still sitting there waiting on Bob to get there, right? It's not good business. And I wouldn't want someone to do me that way. So I wouldn't want to do my customer that way.
Right.
So for me, it's all about, good infrastructure and, a good business. Every time when when the job was done, a day or two later, I would get an email with an invoice. We pay invoices every Friday. I would pay those guys. It's just more infrastructure stuff. Are they
Yeah.
taking 3 months to send you a bill or do you get one immediately? It's not that, I didn't ever ask for terms, but, I wanted to look and see that is their admin staff doing what they're supposed to do? Are there people in the field doing what they're supposed to do? Are they providing me with a quality product? And are they punctual? That's all the things I'm looking at when I'm looking to buy something like that.
Yeah. And when you looked at these guys and they say, hey, these areas are and I'll give you my experience. So we had 2 different plumbing companies out here, and it's funny. One plumbing company, didn't run the camera through the pipes and just made a guess of where
Right.
it's possibly stuck. And the other guy ran a camera and just showed me where their problems were. and the previous company left a couple of tops off of the exhaust where the bathrooms are, and the other company pointed it out, and he goes, "Oh, it was there when we got here." Okay, great. We knew which one to go with, and
Right.
the conversation you have with them. How did you approach them and say, "Hey, I'd like to buy you if you're ever interested in selling"? How did that conversation go, and how did you value it? Say, we think it's just worth this much, and
Well, for me, when I was honest with them, I came to them and said, hey, I'm looking at buying an HVAC company. I do a ton of business with you guys. I would like for it to be you. If it's not going to be you, that's okay. But just know that I'm going to buy someone. I'm definitely not going to start anything else. But I'm going to buy someone, and the year I went to talk to them about buying them, I spent $980 something thousand in just that HVAC sector of the property management company. And so I said, hey, I'm going to buy someone. I'd like for it to be you. I've done a lot of business with you, but just realize that, if you don't want to sell all or part of your company, I'm going to take my $980,000 and I'm going wherever else that I do buy.
ooh, that's a little leverage.
It is, especially for a company that was doing about $1.5 million a year.
Yeah,
So I was 2/3 of their revenue.
yeah.
So it's not that I was trying to strong arm them, but that was the reality. I was going to buy something, and they couldn't stop that. I enjoyed doing business with them. I would love to buy them, but if I couldn't, you're going to have to find some new customers there, bud.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
since I bought them, we went from, we went from they went from doing about $1.5 million to a little over $3 million in a few years.
yeah. Did you
So
buy how much? What percentage did you buy them? 100% or 51
no,
or
I bought 30%, but
30%? Okay.
I've got managerial control.
Yeah.
So
Meaning
I
what?
steer the boat.
You
Means
steer the boat.
any
Yeah.
decision, I make the decisions.
Right. Spending like writing checks or over
I make all the
5,000
decisions.
or
I make all the
installing a new
decisions.
piece of
Their
software.
job
Yeah.
is to do heating and air work.
Yeah.
I make the
How much
business
of a
decisions.
time do you spend like, oh, I got to go buy a CRM system, a great HVAC, a project-based system and quotes and everything. Did you have to do that yourself, or did you have the guy do it? That's still
No,
66% off.
I've got, I told you I started the tech company when I was 19. I still
Yeah.
got it. So I kind of put some of my quarterback for that company to helping me find some good software. We tried
Yeah.
3 or 4 things. These guys were still writing paper tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we found some good software to where we could track the employees, where we could send texts and emails to the customers, where the customers could pay immediately online after the service was completed. And, it worked out very well.
Yeah. It's all phone now, man. They pay
It
immediately
is.
right at the phone. Yeah.
It is. You know, where
And
were we
it's
at when we were young, John? When you had the phone hanging on the wall with the little curly cord?
That's so true. Ours was about 15 feet long after my brother and I and sister and
After
I
you
would
stretched
walk
it
around the
out.
house.
Yep.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So these kind of there's a lot of synergy. The HVAC, how much were you spending with the plumbing companies that you kind of made the same offer, and the electrical companies?
Um, I don't have an electrical company. I got a plumbing company, but I'm
Oh,
spending
plumbing company. Yeah,
right around the same amount.
yeah. And you
So
still own those
yep,
guys.
yep,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I still got the rental homes and the property management company. So I'll keep those as long as I have rental properties and the property management company, just because I feel like that for my tenants, I can give them better service than anyone in the area can, because all that's handled in house.
yeah. And is all of this handled by a general manager now? I mean, how much time do you have your fingers in this?
Maybe 2 hours a month.
2 hours a month. It's
You
kind of, you
know,
kind of like the
and
mailbox money. It's running well, and they only come to you if there's a big problem.
if there's a problem, they'll come to me. I
Yeah,
talk to those guys multiple times a week, but it might be 5 or 10 minutes here and there. Hey, how's things going? What do you need from me? What can I do to help you? You
yeah,
know, do you need any? Tell me what you need. If you need more employees, talk to the HR lady. If you need something, you need whatever. I've got a person for that, right?
yeah.
So,
And how do you find these people to run these kind of separate companies? Obviously, the guy with the HVAC company is running himself, and he's taken helped you to take it to 3 million.
right.
Uh, like, what do you say? Like, what's the future? Like, keep doing what you're doing. You could take extra pay from it. You know, your 401k, and there's upward mobility. What does that look like? As like kind of trying to find out how you treat your people.
And I want them to make as much as they can make. When I buy a piece of it, I don't want them to take a pay cut. I want them to make more. Let's come in and implement some strategies that I've seen work in other companies. Instead of you making, 250 this year, you know, let me come in, let me buy a piece, and let's try to get you to 350 or 400 the year after. You know,
Yeah,
for me, it's, I only buy stuff that's cash flowing, but I only buy stuff that I know I can add value to. I want to be able to come in, purchase the company, and I want to make up for the lost, 30, 50, whatever percent, if I'm going to buy a percentage of it. I want
right.
to make
So
up for that in the
normally,
first.
it's like if $200,000 coming off, now 30% of that revenue is your
Yep.
money, right?
Right.
$60,000. Now they
Yep.
go, hey, I got to help this guy grow it to where he's not only going to, make his money back, but also more.
Correct. That's
Yeah,
that's always my goal. I won't buy anything that I can't add value to, that I am not 100% sure that I can't grow. You
yeah,
know. So for me, that's important.
yeah. So what do? You help that just bought company put systems in place, and then you say, how do we grow organically or acquire other companies or what?
All of the above. I want
Oh,
I want to start running ads. Most of these smaller companies, they're not running any ads. Their business is referral, word of mouth. That's it. No
yeah,
ads. I want to start running ads. I want to go talk to some of the bigger guys. I just want to grow. I want to, like the other companies, we had to put the software in place where they were still writing paper tickets.
yeah,
That gave us essentially, it gave us about another 1.5 jobs per day that we could get done just in the time they saved and the extra cash that was generated because, paper tickets, they get lost, plumbers or HVAC guys, they just toss them in the truck and they bring them back in the office once a week. And, stuff, how it goes, man. Stuff goes missing, right? And
yeah,
it's not,
yeah,
per se their fault, but it is their fault, but it's not their fault if you ask them, right? So with moving everything over digitally, the back office gets, all the stuff immediately. The follow up for the invoices, it's all automated. You don't have to worry about, well, did you call Bobby over there at the convenience store? Because he ain't paid us in 3 months, but he's probably forgot about it.
that's
Yep.
taken care of. That should be paid immediately. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. So if they're on terms, I got it set up where they get a reminder they're on, let's say 30-day terms. They get a reminder at 20 days, 25 days, and 30 days. They also get a text at 25 and 30 days. You know, the accounts receivable went from about $500,000 when I first came over. Now we're less than $30,000. So all
it was
that
a
money
half
is
million
client money
dollars.
as well.
Yeah,
They
Jesus,
they already wrote that off. I got all of it down to about 30 grand. I mean,
and
that's
it's 30 grand per month, kind of average, or is it?
rolling
Yeah,
average, correct? Yes,
yeah,
sir.
rolling average. Yeah,
Yes, sir. So
yeah,
that's 470 grand in found money that they had wrote off, thought they would never get anyway.
right.
That's huge,
That's huge. That's
and
like
all that goes to the bottom line.
yeah. And what do you guys teach about unit level economics? Saying well, here's two guys per truck to get to $1 million. We just need to do this much advertising to get another $1 million.
Correct. It's all about, especially with that advertising, it's all about cost per lead. If I know I can spend, and I just looked at some of these numbers the other day. So let me use the example of the forestry mulching company. So for me with that company, I can spend $1,500 a week, and I can get about anywhere between $35,000 and $40,000 a week worth of work. $1,500 a week in
$1,500 a week,
advertising,
you get 30 to 40,000.
35 to 40,000 a week in jobs.
Yeah.
Um, and my average job is $8,000, and about half of that is profit. So if you go look, if you got $40,000 a week, if you do $40,000 a week worth of work, you got $20,000 a week in profit. And at that point, you pay $1,500 to get $20,000. Now, granted, it took me probably $15,000 to $20,000 to get that advertising dialed in. My client, who my client avatar was, dialed in perfectly. But it's like a sewing machine now. And for
Yeah.
other companies in the area, sometimes they get short on work. I'll contract some stuff out. Hey, give me 20% of the profit. I'll run ads and you can take my overflow. I
Yeah.
can move my ad budget up to, maybe it's 2,000 a week or 2,500 a week. I can spend an extra $500 to $1,000 a week. And, I can make an extra couple $1,000.
And you take some kind of commission on that
I
overflow
do take a
or
commission.
something?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
And it's all about, once you get that audience dialed in, it's all dependent on your amount of ad spend. I know if I spend, 1,500 a week, I can get $40,000 a week worth of jobs. If I spend, let's say I spend $3,000 a week, I'm going to get somewhere between 80 and 100 grand a week worth of jobs. Just depends on how much bandwidth I want to take on, or how much bandwidth I want to, for lack of better terms, lay off to another person.
yeah. When you talk about ad spend, what are you talking about? Like radio commercials locally, paper ads, or circulars?
So
What do you? Yeah.
for me, most of the stuff where I'm spending money on ads is either like Google ads or Facebook ads.
Okay.
For home
Locally for
services.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah, for home services stuff, Facebook's a monster. People
Is it
don't
really?
think that, dude, it's insane. People don't think that nobody goes on Facebook to look for somebody to cut grass. They get on Google. No, dude, no. Like the forestry mulching company, my only source of advertising was word of mouth and Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Like here's a great
Forestry
example.
mulching business. What is that? When did you buy that?
2019, when Corona came along, I
Right
bought it.
before it. Yeah.
Yep, I bought it. My dad was actually needing some work done around his house, and I was doing some development in the real estate company, and I had a guy that I had hired, and let him work for me for probably a month and a half. I was just contracting the jobs out to him. I didn't have any equipment at that point, but he worked and done some stuff for me in a development project and done a few jobs for my dad. Worked about a month and a half. I had about a week lag in between there. From moving him from that project to the next project. And I called him back. I said, "Hey, we're ready to get started on a project." "Oh, I'm about 2 months out. You're just going to have to, you'll just have to wait." I'm like, "Man, I can't wait." So I went and found someone else that was smaller, but had the same type of equipment, bought them out. Then I went and bought some more stuff to add to that.
Yeah. And we're
So
talking about taking trees and trimming trees and taking the roots and digging them up or whatever it is, just turning wood into mulch kind of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
these particular machines I have a drum with teeth on it. And you actually just run the tree over, and it turns it into mulch. You can take a tree. I got one machine that you can take a tree the size of your waist, cut it, push it over, and turn it into mulch like you put in a flower bed in about 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It is insane.
And
But
what do you do with that mulch?
you just leave it on the ground.
Oh, okay.
Customers
I
are
got to
looking
tell
to
you,
clear
there's a
out.
company locally here that takes that mulch and then they create compacted little logs for burning.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool
Yeah, and it's
concept.
like there's an Ace Hardware here, pretty close here, and I've tried. They're good starter logs. I got a fireplace, and you usually
Right,
use mesquite. And mesquite burns
right,
a long time, but sometimes you buy these logs and the papers things, and you burn them. But there was one on. It was local, and I go, I'm going to try this out. And it was a bigger log, and it actually burned longer, and it smelled better, and everything because it was
right,
mesquite from Arizona.
right.
Like, I love it, right? And that's what they do with all the mulch, and they're selling those for, I don't know, $14 a log. Yeah.
Wow, that's strong,
I just gave you a business idea to take.
man. With the mulching company, it's we can turn it. It's it's easy to get customers. During
Yeah.
Corona, during Corona for probably maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years. We were doing we were doing a little over 100 grand a month just
Wow.
in
Yeah.
mulching. People were sitting at home, they were looking out the back window. You know, the wife was complaining to the husband complaining to the wife. We've been meaning to take those trees down for 2 years. Everybody's working from home at that point. For us, we had to change our marketing and our marketing demographic. We went from marketing to men and women in a certain age group to only marketing to women. Because as we went to the job sites during Corona, normally the man and woman were both home, working from home. The woman was the one doing all the not complaining, but complaining, right?
Yeah.
She was steering the boat. And I've been asking my husband to take those trees down for 2 years, and they're still up there. We're going to get that knocked out if you can come do this job today. We went from concentrating on men and women in a certain age group to only women, and we doubled our business in about the first, I don't know, 20 to 30 days, man.
And
It was
was that
insane.
a filter on Facebook? Just
Yes,
select
sir.
women? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep. Same age
And
group, but we did only women, not men. And man, it's
yeah.
like a rocket ship.
Do you have an inside ad agency or an outside ad agency?
Some of both. I was running the ads internally for the forestry motion company.
Yeah.
So, just
Yeah. And
because, all those guys reported back to my office every day and I could get a ton of feedback from them. It's just easier to be able to convey internally than externally.
yeah. And do you still own that forest mulching company?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you
sir.
still own the HVAC company and the plumbing company that to
Anything to do
support
with house.
all of your properties.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's just throwing out cash flow. So what other things came along that you go, okay, let me before we go on that forest mulching, one guy was 2 months out, he too busy to take your project. You find a smaller guy with the same equipment, and you made him the same kind of offer. Say, hey, I'll buy X percentage of your company because I
I
need
bought
you
the
to
whole
support.
thing.
Oh, you bought the whole thing?
Yep.
Just how'd you finance it? Just out of cash flow, and just like
Just out
100%,
of cash
write a
flow.
check.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Just wrote a check for it because at
Is
that
he
point,
still working with you for you?
no, he's not. He worked for a little bit and he wanted to get out because he didn't like the industry. It's cold in the winter and it's hot in the summer, and he wanted to go back to working inside in a plant or so.
Yeah,
At the
that's
end of the
just
day,
it
it worked
happens.
out good for everyone.
Yeah. All right. So what came next? What kind of company did you look at next to acquire?
Man, I've got a wide variety of weird stuff.
All right.
I've got
Let's go down a list. Some weird stuff. Let's talk some weird.
um got a partner and I have a coffee chain
A
in
coffee chain.
Wisconsin. I don't even drink coffee, John.
You don't drink coffee? Any kind of caffeine kind of related products?
I'm from the South. I like sweet tea, but
Oh, you like sweet tea? Yeah.
I do. Other than that, no, I don't. I don't really drink sodas. No, no coffee. I don't like the flavor of
Well, so
coffee.
coffee chain. It's in Wisconsin. You don't drink coffee. How did this opportunity come along, and why did it attract you?
Well, it's my partner in that business. enjoyed coffee.
Yeah.
Um, she always wanted to buy a coffee shop, and, at the end of the day, it was a good opportunity, good cash flowing business. We bought three brick and mortar coffee shops, and a roastery and a wholesale division. And, it's been great. The guy that we bought it from, he still works there with us. You can't find a better guy. Super, super, super good guy. He just, his wife wanted to kind of hang out and retire. He wasn't ready to retire. So it's the best of both worlds. They got to sell.
Yeah.
He still works with us. He's a great guy. We learned a ton from him, just by, the stuff that he's built. I mean, they had it for 20 years, the husband and wife.
Yeah.
So,
and what were they doing? Were they actively selling it, or
no,
I guess let me restart that.
No, they weren't selling it. She, I met her through one of the events that I put on, and she says, I was asking, same question we always ask the students, what do you want to do? That's normally the $1 million question, because a lot of them aren't sure. They just want to get into entrepreneurship. But she knew she wanted to own a coffee shop. I'm like, all right, well, which coffee shop would you like to own? You want more than one? She's like, yeah, I've got a favorite one that's right down the road from my house. They got a few stores. I'm like, okay, well, do they want to sell? She's like, no, it's not for sale. I'm like, everything's for sale. So, I told her, I said, go get greeting cards. Write up something in the greeting card, hey, my name's Chelsea. I love your coffee. If you've ever thought about selling, here's my number. Give me a call. I said,
as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. I said, go drop those off at every one of their stores that they have, and the bean roastery. I said, if they'll know you're serious, and if they have ever thought about it, they'll reach out to you. Well, it was about a week went by, and she said, I hadn't heard anything. I don't want to make them mad or anything. I'm like, just give them a minute. Just, who knows? Come to find out, they were on vacation. So they got back, and they gave her a call, and, they said, we seen 3 different cards at 3 of our locations. We know
on
that,
LinkedIn and on Facebook and everywhere else. Yeah. I have
we know you're serious.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, they they wanted to sell the mobile units that they had. They had some units where they service like fairs and festivals.
Yeah.
We weren't interested in those. We were only interested in the drive-throughs and the brick and mortars and, the roastery and the wholesale. So, it was one of those things. Well, we haven't thought about it, but we'll get back to you. It's about a month goes by. Reach back out. Hey,
she doesn't reach out to check with them. She just lets it sit out there. Okay,
let's
great.
It simmer. About a month went by. We reached back out, and I said, well, we have been thinking about it. Hey, let's go to dinner and see how that works. Let's figure it out and see if there's some synergy here where, everyone can win. Because I don't like buying stuff where, at the end of the day, where they have to lose in order for me to win, or I have to lose in order for them to win. It's got to be a win-win situation. If not, I'm not interested, man.
Yeah.
So, that negotiation took probably 7 or 8 months.
Ooh,
but
wow.
We finally ended up coming up with something that would work for everybody. Everybody was happy. We got the deal done, and it's been great ever since.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the relationship between you and Chelsea. I'm sure it's just an anonymous name. It's Chelsea. Like, what did you agree to be partners? 50-50, or what would it look like? You're bringing the money. She's going to be bringing the management. Well, what did that look like?
Yep. 50-50.
50-50. Okay. Mm-hmm. Was there specific responsibilities? Hey, I will handle like day-to-day operations, and you will handle what? Like you're chairman of the board of advisors, what?
Yeah, I mean, really, it was the company that the husband and wife that sold it to us, the company that they had built, man, it was 98% on autopilot, John.
Was it?
There's not
Yeah.
much to handle. She handles, a lot of the stuff that, personnel issues or stuff like that, or getting stuff scheduled or any of that. But, the guy that we bought it from, he still handles most of the day-to-day stuff. I mean, like I told you, man, the relationship there is great. He's a great guy. He's really helped us out.
Yeah.
It's one of those dream jobs or dream acquisitions where you say, hey, I want to buy a company that's up and running, that has good infrastructure in place, that's just coast along. I mean, this is it. But
Yeah.
I think that the work that they did to start with, to get it to where it was at, and the fact that we work good with him, he works great with us, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. It's,
Yeah.
like I said, nobody had to lose for the other person to win, and that makes
Right.
it where it's fun every time you see each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What were they looking for? I mean, a lot of people go, that's ranges from, hey, I think it's valued at this. I want this up front. Write me a check, and as soon as we do, great. Or some people are just, I'll work it out in some kind of installment seller financing plan over 5 years or something.
We I can tell you, I got an NDA, so I can't talk about it, but I can give you. I mean, it was favorable for both parties, is all
Yeah.
I can say. But I mean, it was a good deal for everybody. The terms and everything worked great for everyone. So, I mean, it was a good deal. Everybody was happy.
Yeah. And their financial integrity, they delivered some financial report cards to you, and they look clean. Did you go through due diligence with them, or
Yeah, we went through.
are you got the skills today to just go, hey, these are clean books, I like them, let's move forward? Yeah.
Yep, we went through due diligence of, I don't know, probably 60 to 90 days, going through and just looking at everything, looking at the past track records. It took their accountant a little longer to get us the stuff, which is what stretched it out a little bit longer. But I mean, at the end of the day, they had good numbers. They kept good books. Everything was solid. So I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, after kind of coming through it, we knew it was a good deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
So
made a fair valuation or high valuation on I don't know what coffee shops sell for. It's kind of in the restaurant category. Is it?
it
What are
was
they?
it was definitely a fair evaluation, fair to high. It's on the
Fair to
high
high.
side of fair, I guess. Is
But into your terms, right? Because he was going to stick around a little bit more installment. I know you're under NDA, so
Yep. It worked out good for everyone. They were happy. We were happy.
yeah. Well, that's cool. You like Wisconsin in the winter?
I don't like Wisconsin, period, man. It is too cold in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It's a good place in the summer. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've
Yeah.
ever been in the summer, but there's a lot of cool stuff to do, and it doesn't get Arizona hot, but it gets 85 to 90, and it's not bad. But in the winter, man, it's a brutal
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. I used to live in Indiana, so
Oh,
Midwest
same
stuff.
concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what was the other next weird? Let's say another type of business that came in your lap.
I bought a mailbox company.
What do you mean a mailbox company? What's that? I mean, I know what a mailbox is, but what is a mailbox company?
Like a mailbox store, like you've seen, like the UPS
Oh
stores
yeah,
that have
mailbox and
mailbox.
etc. Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Before
same concept,
UPS
but
used to buy them. Yeah.
right, same concept, except just a privately owned, not franchise type thing.
Yeah. And was this lead come through one of your coaching programs where you, hey, partner with me, or did you do it by yourself?
So I've got one of the students is actually out there running it. It's in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Las Vegas.
How's
So
that business doing? Is it good business, or is it,
it
hey,
is a
guy
good
walks
business,
in and
man.
buys 60-cent stamps and walks out? Like
No, it's a good business. We've got about 750 physical boxes and about 4,000 virtual boxes. So
So that's all reoccurring revenue, right? I know that
yes,
I was actually looking for the virtual boxes. Those are like 19 to something dollars a month.
yep,
And then you got your physical boxes. So it's all reoccurring revenue.
right. And you know, bought that and seen there was a real potential because there was not a lot of the software aspects for mail stores. You got to have about 5 or 6 different softwares, and they're just pieced together to run
Yeah.
the store. I took and built out some software to. I mean, we took when I first started, it was about 6 steps to get one transaction done. Now I got it drilled down to one step. Also, when we first bought it, we had 2 people, and their sole purpose in life was to sort mail every day and put it in the right box. And like if it's a virtual box or if it's a local box, we scan the mail in the front like a front visionary piece of the mail. We'll run it through a scanner and send it out in the email to every one of the customers. We had 2 people. That's all they did all day, every day. With the software we developed, we took that process and turned it into about takes maybe an hour and a half for one person to do now.
Yeah.
So we built out software with optical character recognition where it can go through and read the addresses and the names on the box. It automatically sends out the emails, and we do it with about a 93% accuracy. So we didn't do that to be able to lay off people or fire people. We did that to be able to buy some of their time back, because at that point we couldn't scale when we
Yeah.
first bought it.
You can't scale doing that. No.
No. So now with where all of that stuff is automated, I mean, it's sky's the limit.
Right.
Because
Well,
those
what
two
do you mean
people.
sky's the limit on? Let me give you an example. I did an interview with Brian Byers over at, he bought some Midases, and I go, well, John, I can't scale. I got 2 bays. We're only open 40, 50 hours a week, and I can only get so many cars in. I can't, that's it. I'm going to do
Right,
$1 million, $1.5 million, depending on what, state I'm in based upon the pricing.
right.
What does scale mean? Like,
For me, especially with like the virtual box, product that we offer. A virtual box is, I give you an address, they ship everything to that address, and it goes in, for lack of better terms, a cardboard box in the back room. I can have as many virtual boxes as I need. It's not a
yeah,
physical
that's
box that you
unlimited.
go there.
Yeah. Do
Correct.
you have
Yep.
subcontract with somebody that does that? Because I was looking for a virtual box, and then they go, hey, here's a location, and here's a location, and there's a location.
Yep. So I've got some of it's internal, and we've got contracts with 5 or 6 other, you know, white label people out there where,
That are
they sell the
advertising
service, we
nationally.
fulfill the
Yeah.
service.
Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a cool concept, man. And it's one of those weirdo things that you don't ever think about unless you use the service, or you have to think about it. Right.
Yeah, well, there was a reason why UPS and FedEx bought all those locations.
For
There was
sure.
important
It's great cash
transactions
flow,
going on. Yeah, it's cash flow. Yeah.
great recurring revenue, and you got to think it's a $20 a month mailbox. It's kind of like your Netflix bill. It's one of those things that, hey, I need to cancel that mailbox because I don't do anything out there anymore. I will do it next month. It's $20.
You kind of
Next month
forget about
comes.
that money.
Next month
Yeah.
comes. Next month comes.
Yeah. And is your part half owner, 50-50 owner, was it this one too?
I own a third of it.
Own a third of it, right?
Mhm.
And so own a third of cash flow. Do you any of these businesses? Is all throwing off like I own a percentage of the cash flow, or is it let it roll over? Sometimes maybe we'll keep it or sell it, or what's your strategy on that?
It's all dependent on the business. You
Yeah,
know, I still have the real estate stuff and the tech support company. They'll fund, whatever it is that I decide I want to go do. These other businesses, I'm just buying it for cash flow, or buying it because, I know I can add value to it. Some of them I'm buying to build and resell, like the Mailbox company. We'll resell it, but I was able to add so much value by the software build out. It was,
Geez, are you
it's
selling the
great.
software now to other locations?
I'm not currently. That doesn't mean
Yeah,
that I won't in the future, but I'm not currently.
yeah. Well, see, that's the insight. I mean, if you weren't in a tech company and didn't realize, hey, man, this is all man hour stuff. This needs to be, and it's frequently used, frequently asked questions, whatever it is. It's a process that needs to be automated with software.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many options, especially in today's world with automation or, I've the tech company that I've got, we've also started building out a lot of like question and answer bots, for lack of better terms, to where we can feed the bot for here's a great example for construction companies. We built out I don't want to call it a bot, but it's a bot. We built out a program to where for their employees, if they have a question about the state building code or the local county codes, we can load all that information into a chat bot. They can ask that bot, hey, what's the setback off the road in XYZ county for us to start, doing ditching or, underground lines. And it'll spit it right out. There is no, these guys are buying back hours and hours a week of employees' time. And especially like high level employees where some of the guys in the field would have to call and ask questions that aren't necessarily dumb questions. They just don't have enough experience to know. Right. So we're putting all the documents that they need, all the SOPs, all anything into a program, and they pull it right up on their cell phone. They ask it a question. It spits out the information that we have already put in. So we are training it and telling it what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do. Man, it's
Yeah.
monstrous.
So is this the same tech company that you had, or is this a new
Yeah, it's
company
the
you
same
bought?
one.
Yeah, same tech company you started when you were 20, 21.
19. Yep.
Yeah, 19. Jesus.
Yep.
Now, are you reselling this to other
Either reselling
companies?
it or building the stuff for the companies. It just depends on if they want to, what they want to do with it, what their end
Yeah,
goal is,
yeah.
and it depends on what the sensitivity of the information is.
How are you getting the word out to say, hey, we've got this solution for you? How do you do that?
Uh, Honestly, I haven't had to even worry about that. I'm probably
Not
booked
yet.
out 6 months in advance for just projects that we got going on.
Yeah. All right, I'll
It's
talk to you that one later. So tell me about mailboxes. What's a interesting one out? Tell me one that didn't work out where it just everything kind of looked ugly, whatever
yep.
it was. Yeah.
I bought a concrete company maybe 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Right back to trying to vertically integrate with the real estate stuff, but
Right.
didn't do much due diligence on it. Not near enough as I should have. I mean, it was a quick turn. The guy needed some money. I've been looking at concrete companies. Some guys I knew brought him to me and said, "Hey, this guy, he needs to sell. He'll continue to stay on." I thought it would be a good deal. I didn't do enough due diligence on the company numbers. Look fine, but he himself was an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
So I didn't do enough due diligence on him as a person, and it just came back to bite me.
Yeah. And what kind of salacious type of behavior did he not
I mean, just
pass muster?
not doing the jobs, stealing, going doing jobs on the side, and putting the materials on my credit card. I mean, it was an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
Yeah. And you bought that. And then what happened? You shut it down
Yep, I shut it down.
after how many months?
Probably 14 or 16 months.
14. Did you go out and look for a new concrete company, or did you just put that vertical integration idea aside?
Nope, I just tossed that one to the side.
Yeah.
The
You said,
employees
I'm
in
not
that.
going to buy, I'm not going to go
Yep,
taste that again. Yeah.
that was yeah, it was definitely a poop sandwich. Definitely a poop sandwich.
Do you
Uh,
feel like you lost a lot of money there, or was it
I
just
lost a
a
decent amount, yeah. But
yeah?
for me, this is, and if you, I know we've been on phone calls numerous times. I'm sure you've heard me say it. For me, it wasn't a loss. It was a lesson. I learned something by it. I learned what not to do. I learned a few things that maybe I want to do to expand on in the future in different markets. But it was just, some people pay 100 grand a year to go to college. I paid, you know, 300 grand in a year to learn I didn't want to do concrete, you know.
Yeah, let me ask you. You and I have talked for a couple of years, and we just a
Yep.
number of different things. And partnerships is definitely a hot subject. And how do you? And we've both been burned by them. But how do you? Every time you've been burned, you go, okay, I won't do that again. But something new comes up. Like, how do you find somebody that's good, and then or disqualify the bad? That you're able to go. You can't really ask it. Hey, are you going to cheat on me in the future? No,
Right.
right? Right.
Right. At the end of the day, I think you know, it's all about, what you feel about the person, as as you eat more poop sandwiches, you determine that there's more versions of poop than one, right?
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot of different poop sandwiches out there, man.
right, and for me, it's just about, trying to find out the most about the person to start with. And, does that always work? No. But for me, I always try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt until they show me different. That's come to burnt me, a lot of times, you
Yeah.
know, but,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, here's my outtaken opinion on the whole situation. If they're going to be a bad person, I can't make them be a good person. Only person that can make them be a good person is themselves. And if they're going to be a bad person, they're going to, whatever they're going to do, steal or lie or whatever, you know, they're going to get me once.
Right.
After that, I just don't fool with them anymore. So,
Yeah. It's kind of
you
Kevin
know,
Leary. You're dead to me, right?
right. Yep.
Yeah.
So better make it good the first time is all I know to tell them.
Yeah. So now you have, and we're coming up on an hour, you've got 22 companies under management, and it's throwing off what? We're talking excess of 5 million in EBITDA type stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not
It's a
bad.
private company, and I'm trying to figure out what it looks like. And then you're only working a couple hours a month on
Well,
these.
and that one, but I'm just like you, John. I'm working, you know, 6, 8, 10 hours a day, but I can do it all from my phone now,
Yeah.
because I have good people in place. I've got a quarterback for every business that I have. And, I only put top tier talent in those spots. I won't settle for subpar. And when you do that, when you hire the best people and you take care of them, you treat them right, they treat you right in the long run. So at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I just, I hire fast, but I also fire fast. If you don't fit into, the culture that I've built, or you don't have the same, morals and ethics that I do, you're just not going to fit in. It's time for us to part ways and keep going. Right. It's just, I feel like that I've got a great group of people. Anybody else that I hire in, they have to get along with everybody, and they have to have the same, mentality and work ethic that everybody else does. Because number one, I don't want my people that have been with me a long time to, to get frustrated because somebody else is not pulling their weight or they're not a good person. But I also don't want the new person coming there ruining the culture that I've built. Like I said, it's, I'm not sure. I've got a great culture that I built out, and I'm not sure what I would change about it if the opportunity arose.
That's lovely. And we're going to end on that. Michael Byars, 22 companies under management. Thank you so much for being on Top M&A Entrepreneurs.
Thanks, John. I appreciate the opportunity.
I hope this video has inspired you. If you need help buying your first $1 million business, make sure to visit me at dealflowsystem.net. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe down below. Comment on it, share it, tell everyone about it. And thanks for watching.